and originally she is from Maple Ridge and worked for a couple of years as an investment advisor in Vancouver. And I think the story was that she had a lot of clients always said they wanted to do this and that once they were retired, and she decided she's not going to wait until then and acted immediately and bought into a kiteboarding school in Mexico. And I'm not sure how many years exactly she's lived in Mexico, but it's been a few. And now she has been in Canada, back in Canada for a month, and has started her own kiteboarding school out of China Creek. And she moved to Port Alberni without, I think, having been here before or having an exact plan of what that would look like. But it's so far, she seems to really like it, and she's going to tell us all about her journey and why she chose Port Alberni and what her plans are, and about kiteboarding.
Can you hear me all right without the speaker? That would just make me feel a little uncomfortable. So I decided to follow my dreams in 2011, leaving Vancouver. I was living downtown Vancouver for about 10 years, had a fancy condo, a nice sports car, everything, and quit, and I moved to a town called Los Barriles. I worked with a partner there owning a kite school, and I learned the ropes with him, but mostly I learned what not to do. So I opened my own brand, Girl on the Board Kite School, in La Ventana, another town. And our focus really is to empower men and women through sport. I wanted to have a mission behind what I was doing. And I wanted to share kiteboarding with as many people as possible and make as many people as possible understand that it's a sport for everybody. The reason I personally love it so much, I'm a yoga instructor as well as having the kite school, is because it's very meditative, it's a very connecting to the elements sport. So you're out there, you can imagine you're walking down, you pump up your gear. Typically you're in bare feet, unless you're here. You have to wear booties here, but in La Ventana you're in bare feet, you're on the sand. So you're connecting to the earth. You lift your kite up, you're in the sun, you're in the ocean, you're playing in the wind, and it just, when you're done, you feel completely relaxed. You feel like any of your worries are completely gone. It's not actually too physical. I'm going to show you a little bit how it works so that it is accessible for absolutely everybody. You see 80-year-olds on the beach, probably wouldn't want to start learning at 80, but they've started it in their 50s and now they're still carrying on. I don't know their exact ages, maybe they're younger than that. And you see 12-year-olds kite surfing, so it's really very accessible to everybody. Now, when I decided to come to Canada, my partner Fernando and we have a little girl, Sol, she's 2. I called my friend Greg Inns, who's Sandra Gentleman's brother, and I said, give me the lowdown on every single location. And based on what he said, and after that, I got in touch with Sandra, and I got in touch with Alicia, and I got in touch with Dave, and I got in touch with the city. Everybody was very welcoming and very supportive of us bringing Girl on the Board here. And so Fernando and I bought an RV and we showed up, we checked the beach out, and we were like, oh thank God, it works. And after kiting for a couple weeks and setting up and teaching a few people, I began to realize this truly, you're sitting on a gold mine. I personally learned to kite surf in Squamish, and you get geared up there, you get in the water, and you have a glacier-fed river that you enter. And it's cold. It's cold, and the winds are offshore winds, which is dangerous, but it's kiteable because they have a rescue support team there. So when you show up, you pay $45, and if you get into trouble, you'll have a person that's watching through binocular come and rescue you. Versus here, the water's cold, but it's not that cold. I mean, it's not glacier-fed. The wind is in the appropriate direction, so it's safe, unlike Squamish. You have a beautiful, it's beautiful. Down in China Creek where we are, you have these mountains that come down into the ocean. I launched my kite the other day and an eagle flew over and caught a fish, and that morning John Douglas came up on his boat. He took pictures on the way back the inlet of orcas that were jumping behind his boat, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this place is so beautiful. And then if you compare this place to the other kite mecca on Vancouver Island, Nitnat, Nitnat's gorgeous. And I don't want to take away from it because it's totally beautiful and the kite schools there have done amazing. But the beaches are very, very small. The wind is in the correct direction. The water's a little bit warmer, but it's hard to get to. When I went, there was a 2-hour dirt road, and I remember driving my car like, oh, I think I'm lost. Are we lost? You know, it's at nighttime, there's no signs, and you're a little freaked out. And you get there and you camp, and I loved it because it was total wilderness. There was no hot showers, no electricity, no water, and it was perfect for what I was looking for. But now that I have Fernando in my life and my little 2-year-old, that wouldn't be accessible. It wouldn't even be a possibility. I was telling Miriam that we actually, unfortunately, had to use the hospital here. She fell. My daughter cut her head, and I was like, that's one of the reasons on the list why this is one of the best places to learn. Is Squamish, it's just too cold. Nitnat is epically beautiful, but it's just too remote. Here you have safe winds, reasonably warm water, and you have the town with all its amenities, including hospitals, including groceries and everything. I mean, it's 5.9K on the dirt road. So in terms of a community, I really want to get behind every one of you and everybody here, and I want to get this message out that this could be a huge mecca for BC. And what does that mean? If you go to Squamish, for example, there's 200 people that spit every day. So that's 200 tourists that we could get to stay here for the weekend or for a week or come camping. They can stay in the hotels if they want, or they can camp, whatever their lifestyle permits. They can come on the float plane for the weekends, whatever. But we could be drawing in a lot of people here just with kiteboarding. This is a fast-growing sport. I believe it's labeled the #1 fastest-growing sport in the world, and it's accessible to everybody. So that's a really powerful message that I would love everybody to get behind promoting. And then, of course, behind that, I would love to promote our school, where our mission is to empower. We're an all-female team. We teach everybody. But part of my mission is that when we train each other, because I learn from them, they learn from me, we have techniques to give the technical variation to teach you, that by imagination or by demonstration. There's no ego. It's all just a really safe, positive learning environment, which is really important for me, and it's really important because I want families to come. I want to teach the mom and the daughter, or the dad and the son, or the dad and the daughter, whatever, because it's such a beautiful sport. You can have, for example, an expert. Let's say I'm an expert and my daughter's a beginner. I can go out and do a fancy trick and land, and she can just be following me super slow, and we're still kiting together, which is beautiful, because if I want to take her extreme skiing, I'm also an extreme snowboarder, we'd be on the bunny hills. My day would be a little bit boring, and I'd probably be freezing because I'm not doing too much. Versus kiteboarding, we can be together and be different levels and still totally be together. So it's a very beautiful sport in terms of families. It also has a lot of potential. I was telling Miriam last night, it has a lot of potential to potentially be in the Olympics. Can't remember the exact year that it was proposed to go in. They were going to take not all of windsurfing out, but they were going to take a couple of the races of windsurfing out and put kiteboarding in. Now, the reason that didn't go through is there isn't a platform for judging in place yet to make it equal for everybody. There's not like an international sailing association, for example, that needs to be in place. That structure needs to be in place before they can put the racing in place. However, I'm quite positive that over the next 10 years that will develop. And so if you imagine your 17-year-old son or brother or whatever, or girl, daughter, starting to learn now, in 10 years, absolutely they could be ready for the opportunity for Olympics because it's such a new sport. You can be starting that late in life. You usually you have to be almost pro by 6 if you want to do ballet or these other sports. You have to be in it super young, versus the opportunity is that young people can get involved now and totally be prepared and be at the highest level for when that Olympics possibility happens. I think that's it. I wanted to show you. Now this is the kite here that we use to your first day. So kiteboarding is a little intimidating. It's like you got this big kite and most people are a little bit afraid. So what we do is instead of using a full-size kite, I use a 4-meter kite. So it's a little bit less power. And then I use 15-meter lines versus the regular size is 25 meters. So again, we cut the power down. Now, if you imagine, I'm just going to show you briefly. You wear a harness. You can wear a waist harness or you can wear one with the legs, whatever you're more comfortable in. The weight of the kite is here. So you're connected to the kite here. So when you're riding or when you're even on the beach learning, the kite's connected here and your hands, which you're connected like this, and then you steer with the bar. So with the bar, you can steer with 2 fingers. You have 0 weight. You need 0 muscular ability to be able to kite, which is brilliant. A lot of people think, it's intimidating, it's extreme sport. There's lots of safety features, which I'm not going to get into today, but I wanted to give you the visual that a lot of people think they need a lot of muscular or upper body strength. But because the weight is here, you use your abs a little bit. You subtly kind of resist a little bit with your abs, and then you steer like this. So it's not aggressive. It's not as intimidating as you may see if you see us out there with 25-meter lines and big kites. No. Now, that was it. Did anybody have any questions for me?
When you're talking lines, it's going up 50 or 75 feet?
25 meters, yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and then what would be either the cost of learning and the cost of if you chose to do it by your own setup?
Your own setup, it depends, just like anything, if you want to get used gear or if you want to go retail price. Used gear, you can be pretty reasonable. You can get a setup, everything, board, harness, bar, and lines for around $1,000. Retail, the kite alone is from $13,000 to $19,000. The cost for the lessons, it's for 6 hours. It takes 6 hours to learn, and it's $640. And that's a pretty average price. I think I'm a little bit less expensive than the other schools just because I'm brand new in Canada. Again, it's been 5 years in total that I've had a school, so it's pretty standard.
Is the board that you have on your feet, is it like a wakeboard? Is it a wakeboard or is it something different?
It's exactly like a wakeboard, except for you have bigger fins and your feet just slide in. You don't have boots. You can get boots later if you want, but it's nice to just be able to slide your feet in and come out really easy when you're learning.
So my imagination would have the kite pulling me away and the board going out behind me, and then I'm trying to reconnect the two. How do you keep it all together when that happens?
That's a technique called body dragging upwind, and you learn it on day 2 when you're with the instructor in the water. So day 1, what it looks like is we use this setup and we sit on land together until you get a feel for it, and then we stand on land together until you get a feel for it. You try one hand, you try everything with this without getting in the water. So by the time you go in the water, you already have a sense of confidence of, right, I kind of know what I'm doing, I'm okay. And so day 2, which would be 3rd and 4th hour, we'd get the bigger gear. Your instructor would launch it, go into the water, and then I would stay with you, but I'd pass you the kite when you're in the middle of the inlet, nothing around you, and you get the chance to practice everything, and then you'd also practice the technique of body dragging upwind. Day 3 is when we get the jet ski, we'll get you out into the center of the inlet, give you the board, I'm on the jet ski right beside you, and you get to practice riding.
So you're in the water then when the winds come up.
When the wind, yeah.
So you're talking what, 2 o'clock in the afternoon?
They've been starting a little earlier this year, so we've had several of our lessons start at 11, and then other lessons starting at 1. but it's good because they last all night. So if you wanted to take lessons after your work week or work day, you could start at 6:30 if you wanted.
So people who are already experienced don't need to have a jet ski to go.
No.
They just go into the water.
They go into the water, absolutely. You can go into the water and come back in exactly the same spot once you're a little bit more advanced.
Have you gone off that little pier that's down by the lighthouse yet?
No, I haven't. China Creek is a lot more beginner friendly,
Mhm.
and we're right there. So for me, I preach safety. It's just a little bit safer. So I'd be more inclined to go there personally.
You're right.
If I lived in town and I worked right there, of course I would use.
You're right, because it doesn't seem like a very big pier
No.
for like one kite on there.
It looks
takes up
like
the
you'd
whole
have
thing.
to be reasonably advanced to do it. I looked at it and was like, okay,
Mhm.
you'd need to have some experience. Versus China Creek, it is not super beginner friendly. I don't think any place in BC is actually super beginner friendly
Mhm.
compared to Mexico, but it's, I believe, the most beginner friendly location in BC.
Okay, so where are you set up at China Creek?
We're right front and center. If you drive in, I've got flags.
Okay,
You won't miss
so
me.
you're going off the beach to the left-hand side?
Well, my school is right when you drive in,
Okay.
kind of near the office, and then that beach right there
Okay,
is where we launch.
okay.
I have another question. How is it on your joints? For
It's,
like your knees or
it's
your
super
ankles?
gentle. You imagine wakeboarding, you're behind the boat and you say hit it. In order for that boat to get you up and going, because they're here in front of you, they have to go like 18 kilometers, 15 to 18. They need a lot of power. Versus with the kite, to get you up, you imagine I'm sitting there in the water, I've got the board on my feet, I take the kite at 12 o'clock, which lifts me up, and then I bring it down to 10, which lifts me forward, and then back up to 12. So I don't need a lot of power. I'm pulled up gently, and then I bring the kite down to 10, and I just ride. Again gently, again slowly, if I want. If I want to go fast, I'll, move the kite, or I'll go
But
fast,
there's
but
not a lot of jarring on the,
no,
okay.
yeah.
Once the people are taking lessons, can they rent equipment off you to try to get more feel of it? Or?
No, we don't rent equipment. It's some of the really big schools do it because they can afford to lose their equipment, but it's just recommended you have your own gear.
Okay, well, Nicole, we just want to thank you for coming to the Rotary. Very informative. We welcome you to this community. The Rotary has what's called the four-way test. And is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill, better friendships, and be beneficial to all concerned? We would love to have you a part of our club. Here's a little gift for you. We thank you so much. And I believe that what you're doing builds good friendships in the community, and it'll bond families. So I'm not about to do it, but if anyone else wants to do it, fill your boots.